Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you feel like you've experienced a decade of workplace transformation in just the last couple of years, you are absolutely not alone. Today we're diving deep into the workplace trends for 2026, synthesizing some incredibly crucial insights from heavy hitters like Deloitte, Microsoft, and the World Economic Forum. The pace of change has just sharpened so dramatically. We're no longer just reacting to new trends, we are fundamentally redefining how work gets done right from the ground up.
So let's kick things off with a pretty critical question. Are you truly ready for the 2026 workplace? Because navigating this tipping point isn't just about rolling out some new technology or handing everyone a shiny new app. It's about fundamentally elevating your human workforce to meet those tools where they are. As we unpack all these insights today, you'll see that the organizations actually winning in this new era realize something huge. Competitive advantage isn't just about tech differentiation anymore. It is entirely about cultivating the human edge.
To put the urgency of this into perspective, just look at this staggering number. Right now, 7 out of 10 business leaders are saying that speed and nimbleness are their absolute primary competitive strategies over the next 3 years. They are relying on sheer agility just to survive the current macroeconomic volatility. And we're not talking about working longer hours here. It's about pivoting entire business models in weeks instead of years. The mandate is crystal clear. Adapt continuously, turn on a dime, and move fast.
All right, Section 1. The S-curve compresses.
It is genuinely fascinating to see how the classic S-curve of enterprise growth has completely compressed. You know the old way, right? You had this gradual lift when a new product launched, a burst of rapid acceleration, and then a nice, distant, stable plateau. Well, actually, scratch that. That comfortable plateau where we used to just catch our breath and optimize processes is basically dead. The 2026 reality is an AI-accelerated climb where that growth plateau arrives way sooner. Success doesn't rely on multi-year planning anymore. It relies on sensing change and constantly leaping to the next curve before your competitors even know it hit them.
Moving right along to Section 2, human multiplied by machine.
There is a massive disconnect happening with investments right now. 59% of organizations are taking a purely tech-focused approach to AI implementation. But the data from Deloitte reveals a pretty hard truth. Those tech-focused firms are 1.6 times more likely to totally fall short of their expectations compared to the 41% taking a human-centric approach. Why? Because the human-centric firms prioritize change management and removing friction for the actual user. Buying the tech is the easy part, right? Intentionally redesigning the work for the humans using it is where the real ROI lives.
To fix that ROI gap, we've got to pivot our whole narrative. The old 2024 mindset was human plus machine, humans working side by side with tech as separate entities. But the 2026 mindset, it's human multiplied by machine. This is an intentionally designed synergy where the boundaries totally blur. Think of it less like handing a task off to a robot and more like giving an employee an Iron Man suit. The algorithms do the heavy lifting, while human creativity and judgment act as the ultimate multiplier.
To really wrap our heads around this multiplier effect, we need to talk about a term that is absolutely defining the 2026 lexicon: Agentic AI. We are way past AI just drafting an email for us. Agentic AI refers to task-specific, autonomous systems that actually execute complex, multi-step workflows and coordinate operations across different platforms. This fundamentally shifts our role away from tedious task execution, moving us up to high-level cognitive oversight and quality control. Now, the sheer velocity of this adoption is just wild. Look at this data point from Gartner. We are seeing enterprise applications featuring these task-specific AI agents jump from under 5% in 2025 to a massive 40% in 2026, jumping from under 5 to 40% in a single year. That's not some slow, phased rollout over a decade. That is an overnight infrastructure overhaul rewriting how entire departments function.
And honestly, this creates a massive opportunity for the workforce itself. Because as these highly capable tools roll out, workers who actually possess the skills to oversee and collaborate with AI, they're commanding wage premiums up to 56% higher than their peers. The market is aggressively rewarding those who can orchestrate this new dynamic. So upskilling in AI orchestration isn't just about keeping your job for sure, it's the absolute fastest track to growing your income.
Which brings us to Section 3, the return to stability.
So as technology is moving at warp speed, the human response is actually shifting in a completely unexpected direction. The era of the Great Resignation, yeah, that is officially over. We've transitioned into what's being called the Great Realignment. Voluntary attrition globally has dropped by 2%. In an era defined by rapid macroeconomic changes and this overwhelming AI workslop, where churning out AI-generated content feels more like digital noise than real work, workers are becoming highly risk-averse. They want job security, stable income, and tangible support. They are looking for a safety net in a chaotic world.
And you can clearly see the toll this constant uncertainty is taking. Employee thriving rates have tanked, dropping from 66% in 2024 down to just 44% in 2026. A 22-point drop in just 2 years. That is heavy. People are simply exhausted. The strain of work intensification is very real, and burnout is rapidly transitioning from a personal issue into a systemic operational bottleneck that threatens entire business units.
A huge driver here is the widespread anxiety around the tech itself. A staggering 62% of employees feel their leaders completely underestimate the emotional and psychological impact of AI on their daily lives. On top of that, 40% are explicitly worried about their long-term job security. There is a massive empathy gap right now between leaders who just see exciting cost savings and workers who see a potential existential threat to their livelihoods.
And if you ignore those deep-seated anxieties, your organization is going to accumulate what Deloitte perfectly calls cultural debt. It's basically like technical debt, but for your people. It's that quiet, compounding deterioration of trust that happens when you adopt new technologies at blinding speed, but completely fail to bring your culture along for the ride. You accumulate this debt right when you need your team's agility the most, and eventually it will bankrupt your transformation efforts if you leave it unchecked.
Let's look at the solution in Section 4. Well-being is now infrastructure.
We are witnessing a massive tipping point here. The outdated view of treating well-being as just a discretionary perk, like a subsidized gym membership or a standalone HR program, is completely done. The 2026 reality treats well-being as core enterprise infrastructure. Organizations are now embedding psychological health directly into their operating models. We're talking hard stops on after-hours emails, realistic workload designs that account for human limits, and making well-being a measurable driver of long-term value creation.
And this introduces a really fascinating 2026 concept, stagility. Now I know, stagility sounds like a corporate buzzword we'd all love to avoid, but the concept behind it is actually brilliant. It means providing a stable, secure foundation for your workers. It's a paradox, right? But it's only by providing that deep psychological and financial stability that you can actually ask your workforce to be truly agile and experiment fearlessly. Simply put, security breeds agility.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, choosing the human advantage.
We really have to remember that technology, even advanced agentic AI, is easily replicable. Your competitors can buy the exact same software stack tomorrow. So your true competitive edge, it relies on building irreplaceable human traits. The organizations that win are redesigning work to amplify these specific skills identified by the World Economic Forum: analytical and critical thinking, creative problem-solving, AI literacy, resilience, and systems thinking. An AI can generate 1,000 ideas in a second, sure, but it takes human critical thinking to know which one actually solves the client's problem, and human resilience to pivot when things go wrong.
So, as we bring this explainer to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. You've seen the compressing S-curves, the rise of agentic AI, and the critical need for stagility. You might be buying all the right AI tools, and your tech stack might be perfectly ready for 2026, but is your culture? Have you prepared the human foundation required to actually use those tools? Because at the end of the day, it is not the technology that will dictate your success, it's the human advantage you intentionally build around it. Thanks so much for exploring these workplace trends with me.